Hi, my name is Tong Li. Today I'm going to introduce TACK, Improving Wireless Transport Performance by Taming Acknowledgments. High-throughput transport over WLAN becomes a demanding requirement with the emergence of applications such as UHD wireless projection, VRR-based interactive gaming, and so on. Particularly, the average throughput requirement is 100 megabits per second of an 8K video, whose peak throughput requirement might reach 200 megabits per second. For a UHD VR-based application, the throughput even reached 500 megabits per second. It is reported that the average WLAN connection speed in 2018 was 30 megabits per second and will be more than triple by 2023, which, however, is still far from satisfactory for UHD video-based applications. Most modern WLANs are based on the IEEE 802.11 standards. It is well studied that medium access overhead in WLAN can significantly reduce TCP throughput. This is because TCP ACKs cause internal interference on the same connection. When frames are operated in the MAC layer, the time period including the inter-frame space and a random backoff period is the extra overhead between completion of the last frame and the starting of the next frame. Since the extra overhead for sending each packet is independent with packet size, ACKs cause almost a similar medium access overhead despite the much smaller size. As a result, the internal interference between data packets and ACKs is non-negligible. Basically, TCP sends an ACK for every 1 or 2 packets, which is frequent. As shown in the left figure, the throughput on the ACK path is relatively low. However, as shown in the right figure, the throughput on the data path decreases significantly with the increase of the ACK frequency. In wireless scenarios, reducing ACK frequency has a positive effect on the transport performance due to the reduced contentions. Unfortunately, simply reducing ACK frequency hurts TCP performance, which is called negative effect. This negative effect is because that TCP's transport control depends on frequent ACKs, and the packet clocking algorithms are impacted when ACK frequency is excessively reduced. In this case, acknowledgments should be tamed. This paper aims to seek the optimal ACK frequency with corresponding improvements in transport mechanism to avoid the negative effect. ACK frequency can be denoted by F with the unit of hertz, that is, the number of ACKs per second, which can be reduced in 2 fundamental ways: byte counting ACK and periodic ACK. Byte counting ACK reduces ACK frequency by sending an ACK for every 2 or more incoming full-sized packets. The frequency is proportional to data throughput. We can also reduce ACK frequency by sending an ACK for each time interval, that is, periodic ACK. However, for byte counting ACK, when data throughput is high, the ACK frequency still might be large. On the other hand, for periodic ACK, when data throughput is low, the ACK frequency is always as high as that in the case of a high throughput, which wastes resources. In summary, the frequency of both ways is not bounded or not minimized and bandwidth change. To control ACK frequency in the context of network dynamics, we combine the above 2 ways to minimize ACK frequency. When data throughput is high, the ACK frequency is bounded. On the other hand, when data throughput is low, the ACK frequency is reduced proportionally. We propose TACK, an instance whose frequency is decided by BDP, the bandwidth and the delay product. Qualitatively, TACK applies periodic ACK when BDP is large, and falls back to byte counting ACK when BDP is small. To better estimate TACK's positive effect over various wireless links, we built a UDP-based tool to assure that there is no negative effect. The sender keeps sending large UDP packets, and the receiver has implemented various ACK thinning technologies, including TACK. When the trigger condition is met, the receiver sends one small UDP packet as an ACK. The result is that more number of ACKs are reduced in the case of a faster physical rate. For example, TACK has the same frequency as TCP's delayed ACK over 802.11b links with a small RTT. However, for the 802.11ac links, the frequency of TACK has dropped 2 orders of magnitude when RTT is 10 milliseconds, and 3 orders of magnitude when RTT is 80 milliseconds. Ideally, links with faster physical rates increase throughput improvement. TACK approaches the transport upper bound with a minimized ACK frequency. To apply TACK without negative effect, we list several major issues to handle in terms of loss recovery, round-trip timing, and send rate control, including congestion control and flow control. Next, we will give some case studies to better understand these issues. It is well known that head-of-line blocking incurs high delay of packet resampling and thus leads to transport performance decline. In the case of a legacy TCP, the loss of a packet 3 blocks the head-of-line with 8 subsequent packets. Since TACK might be excessively delayed, applying TACK will further enlarge this delay incurred by head-of-line blocking. In the case of a TACK, the loss of a packet 3 blocks the head-of-line with 97 subsequent packets. When loss occurs during the TACK interval, the excessive TACK delay disturbs loss detection, resulting in costly retransmission timeouts. TACK loss further aggravates this problem. In terms of a round-trip timing, the initial RTT can be computed during handshakes. After that, the sender calculates an RTT sample upon receiving a TACK. The problem here is that multi-pile data packets might be received during the TACK interval. Generating only one RTT sample among multi-pile packets is likely to result in biases. For example, a larger minimal RTT estimate or a smaller maximal RTT estimate. In general, the higher the throughput, the larger the biases. Third, for congestion control, a burst of packets can be sent in response to a single delayed ACK. Since TACK might be excessively delayed, the burst send pattern may cause larger buffer requirement, higher loss rate, and a longer queuing delay if not carefully handled. For send window update, TCP ACKs report the announcement window in the TCP header for flow control. Reducing ACK frequency might also lead to feedback lags and bandwidth underutilization. For example, assume TACK is sent every 50 milliseconds. TACK 1 notifies a 0 window due to the receive buffer runs out. Upon receiving this TACK, the sender stops sending data. In the case that the receive buffer is released 5 milliseconds after sending TACK 1 due to loss recovery, the sender continues to be blocked for another 45 milliseconds until TACK 2 is received, and thus wastes the opportunity of sending data. TACK loss further aggravates this issue. To summarize, applying TACK significantly reduces ACK frequency and improves performance ideally. However, as discussed above, independently applying TACK probably falls short of robust loss recovery, accurate round-trip timing, and effective send rate control. What we really want for WLAN is a full TACK-based acknowledgement mechanism that overcomes the hurdles for applying TACK, using a controlled frequency of ACKs to support efficient transport. There are some notable features of the TACK-based acknowledgement mechanism which are important for reasoning about the differences from legacy TCP. We briefly describe these features below. First, apart from the ACK type of TACK, we also introduce the ACK type of IACK to assure timely feedback upon instant events. IACK and TACK are complementary. IACK assures timely signaling, while TACK acts as the last resort mechanism in the case of ACK loss. Second, when the loss rate on the ACK path has reached a critical level, TACK should carry more information such as continuous range of lost packets or received packets. With more types of ACKs and more necessary information carried in ACKs, the TACK-based acknowledgement mechanism therefore is able to send less number of ACKs, but are exactly what are required by transport. For TACK-based protocol design, the advancements in loss recovery, round-trip timing, and send rate control are the most key reasons that TCP's dependence on frequent ACKs has decreased. Take the minimal RDT estimation as an example. The legacy way of sender-side RDT sampling is either inaccurate or expensive. In this paper, we sample the one-way delay at the receiver, and the TACK carries the timestamps for a packet who achieves the minimal one-way delay. The sender then generates the minimal RDT sample according to this TACK. Because TACK only carries the necessary information, the TACK-based protocol design not only reduces overhead, but also ensures accuracy. For other advancements in TACK-based protocol, we adopt a receiver-based loss detection in which the packet number, the IACK, and the TACK play different roles. Packet number enables receiver-based loss detection, IACK speeds up loss recovery, and the TACK assures loss recovery robustness. In order to control the amount of sent data, TACK-based congestion control should integrate with pacing instead of the burst send pattern. Also, an IACK updating the announcement window should be sent without delay when the receive buffer runs out. For more details, please refer to the paper. For evaluation, we implement TCP TACK, a TCP implementation that applies TACK and deploys the advancements as specified above. We co-design the receiver-based BBR as a TACK-based congestion controller. We also introduce a new BPF socket option to allow changing the TCP ACK frequency. Wireless tests are in a public room with some interferences. Here is the result. TCP TACK achieves significant advantages over legacy TCP in WLAN scenarios due to less contention between data packets and ACKs. Specifically, TCP TACK reduces over 90% of ACKs and also obtains an improvement of 28% on good put. We further find it performs equally well as high-speed TCP variants in wide area network scenarios. This is attributed to the advancements of TACK-based protocol design in loss recovery, round-trip timing, and send rate control. This serves as a strong validation of TACK. To conclude, this paper aims to improve the WLAN transport on the transport layer by reducing the ACK frequency. We find that, ideally, TACK improves good put due to significantly reducing ACK frequency. However, independently applying TACK hurts TCP performance. Thus, we designed the advanced TACK-based protocol and demonstrate that it is a good replacement of legacy TCP to compensate for scenarios where the acknowledgement overhead is non-negligible. That's all for my report. Thank you for your watching.